Hello and welcome to the Homeschool with Moxie podcast. I'm your host, Abby Banks, and this is episode 331. Today we have a great treat for you. We're talking to Krystal Popov. She's the owner of Futurepreneur and an passionate advocate for empowering kids and teens to become entrepreneurs. Isn't this the perfect topic for homeschoolers? We love the freedom of homeschooling and why set your kid up to just be an employee and grind through the 9 to 5 when they could be entrepreneurs and they can start right now. Let me tell you a little bit about Krystal before we jump into our chat. She's a mother of 3 and she believes that young people have a lot of potential to start business, but they often just lack the guidance. So she climbed the corporate ladder in engineering, but then left that traditional workforce to build 4 businesses. And today she runs a 7-figure co-working and flex space in Tucson, Arizona. She's also launched Futurepreneur to help kids turn their creativity and tech skills into successful ventures. So you will find her business startup challenges at futurepreneur.com, and she teaches kids essential entrepreneur skills. What does that include? Things like creativity, financial planning, team leadership, marketing, and sales. And so I think this is going to be a very valuable episode for those of you, especially with teenagers, but also with younger kids, because you can start doing these things right now. So listen in and also check out the show notes at 4onemore.com/331, because you will find how to get a free business starter kit that you can start using with your kids right now. So let's jump into episode 331, which is Raising Future Entrepreneurs, How to Nurture Creativity and Fearless Confidence. And here's my conversation with our guest, Krystal Popov. Welcome, Krystal. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Homeschool with Moxie podcast.
I'm so excited to be here with you.
This is amazing for homeschool parents because it's a great topic about, we're so interested in, we don't just necessarily want kids who can go get a job, work 9 to 5. There are so many opportunities available. So we want to know how we can raise entrepreneurial kids, future entrepreneurs, and you have the perfect backstory for that. So as I understand it, you had a successful engineering career and then you switched to being an entrepreneur. What sparked that shift for you? What was that turning point like?
Yeah, and I think everyone says this, but it was the freedom. I want to be able to be with my kids. So as soon as, I knew I was getting ready to settle down, I was about 7 years into a full-time engineering career, working, I called it the firm, right? Working 50 hours a week, getting paid 40, that was the norm. And I knew I wanted something different. I also had a little bit lost that spark. I found myself, which I think is most of America, getting in the car, but not really excited about their day. And I met a few young entrepreneurs at that time, and I'm like, I've got to do something. And so my toe dip into entrepreneurship was actually in network marketing, right? Which is a tough industry. Network marketing, multi-level marketing, tough industry. I did not have success right away. But I ended up doing really well in that industry. I hit a company at the right time. So that kind of launched into it. But I also knew I wanted to make an impact on the next generation. So I've started 6 companies in the last 5 years. Some of them worked really well, some of them didn't, but it was all with a new entrepreneur in mind. So I have some co-working spaces. I have a flexible retail space in downtown Tucson that supports makers, like small entrepreneur crafts. And then my newest one that we're going to talk about today, which is Futurepreneur, teaching entrepreneurships to the next generation.
I think this is going to resonate because, people homeschool because of the freedom. That's why most of us
Yes.
homeschool. We're like, hey, yeah, this is why we're doing what we're doing anyway. So why would our kids then trade that freedom in once they're adults and start being someone's employee? This is very makes sense for our path that we're already on here as homeschoolers. But I can imagine that that your story was not without its challenges because you're a mom, you've got a family. How do you
Yeah.
balance all that? Because I know some of the parents listening are also trying to juggle, work life with family life. Do you have some great tips or big lessons you learned?
Yeah, I really guard my time. I really guard my time. I used to be the person that felt obligated to go to your neighbor's happy hour birthday party, right? If I got invited, I felt obligated to go, and I had to switch that. There was no way I could get it done. I also find myself, so I said no to a lot more, right? I really ask myself question, if it's not a heck yeah, I want to be there, it's an absolutely no. Right. So I say that, do I really like, is this like a yes, I want to be there? No. Or yes, this is good for my career, or this is good for my kids, I'll be there. Then it's a no. If it's even like, I don't know if I really want, I mean, it is an absolute no.
Mhm.
And it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do a lot, to be present. I brought meditation into my world recently, and I find that during my meditation, I kind of plan my day. And then I'm really efficient with my work time. Like, it's incredible when you thought you were busy before kids. Like,
Mhm.
I remember being like, gosh, I'm so busy. And then you have kids and you're like, okay, I was not busy at all. Right. So I am very efficient with my work time. If I can only work 3 or 4 hours today, those are going to be very efficient 3 or 4 hours. I'm not wasting time. I'm making the phone calls I need to make. I'm building the audience I need to build. I'm creating what I need to create that day. And it is, you have to be so efficient at that time, which means you need your energy. So you got to get your full sleep, you got to meditate, and then you've just really got to guard your time. It's the only way I can do it.
So that makes a lot of sense, especially the efficient work time. And isn't that like a great life skill to start teaching our teens? Like, don't just like, float as you do your homeschool day. Like, be efficient. Like, that's going to help them in the future. So let's pivot to talking about how we're raising our kids to be
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, because I do think homeschool parents will resonate with this.
Yeah.
And, teenagers today are in the perfect spot to be like, hey, I can do anything when I graduate. So why do some of our kids though not think that's possible? What's holding them back? Is there something we can do as parents? What do you see there?
The fear of failure is real. You know this. I know this. They talk about it all the time, but it really, you have to embed this. If they're not seeing failure and success from their parents or grandparents, they need to experience it, right? So I think the reason that I had courage to kind of step out is I watched my mom do it. When I was in high school, she started a construction company, swimming pool construction. She's bought houses, flipped them, sold them. I watched some of them do well, some of them not. So I got to experience it that way. But what's really cool for a homeschool parent, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're not an entrepreneur, is you can start pulling that. This is why we created this. You can start pulling that into your kid's life right now. So what we basically do is we send a business in a box. So these are little startup businesses that your kids go through, but think lemonade stand, but on steroids, right? So we have open your own dog walking business, launch your own pizzeria, open an away care business where you do house sitting and pet sitting, design and sell your first t-shirt, right? So we get them creating. And the one step that we do that's really important, and if you're going to go through a futurepreneur business with your kid, the really important thing is to set that precedence up front is we are here to succeed. We're here to make money, right? So whatever we do, we've got to look at those finances in advance. And I saw that actually kind of with a homeschool cohort that I helped walk them through. But um, we've got to really think about the money up front, because you can lose a lot of money in business. And talk about that up front, game plan that up front before they dive in and start buying all the stuff for their candles, and and then they have to price them at $18 to be able to make a dime, right?
Mhm.
So really talking about those finances up front, we make a simple, fun way to do it through our blueprints. And then the next thing is celebrate every step. Kids don't want to wait till the end of the launch to be excited, right? So once you have a blueprint, celebrate that you have a plan. I have a business plan now, right? Yes. Once we make your first prototype, celebrate that, right? Tell other people about it. Oh my gosh, they made their first t-shirt, right? And then once they get their first sale. So we have like pauses in our plan, in our business plan, our business blueprint, to really stop and celebrate that. But if something doesn't go well, blueprint fails, candle falls apart, right? Then laugh it off. It's okay. Let's try again. You just never, kids don't have the grit. We've watched a whole generation that has no grit,
Mhm.
and they're jumping from job to job, right? They bump up against something that's tough and they stop. And we're watching that. And that's why this Futurepreneur right now is so important to get into their hands early, is you're going to finish this. My kids, I just enrolled them in swim team last summer. Man, after 2 weeks, they said, Mommy, we don't want to do this. I'm like, we started, you wanted to start, we are finishing the season. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a motto in our house. And I hope it's a motto in other parents' house. You just can't quit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's going to make the next generation succeed is building that grit, not being afraid of failure, and really starting early, knowing that they can take their passion and do anything they want to.
I love this because I say this all the time too. It's like we don't know how to do hard things anymore. Something becomes
Yes.
not fun and we're like we're done. It's only we can only do things that are fun. No, like persevere. I think this is yes, absolutely. It's a character trait that you want to build in your kids. So
It is.
part of that comes back to us as parents, I think. Like are we just letting them slide by? Or are we like really helping them push through things and learning that perseverance, that grit? I love that. It's kind of like the word moxie, like you have that in you,
Yes.
like you can keep going even when things are hard. So that's amazing. But like, so are there essential skills that make someone a good entrepreneur? Are there things that, they have to have built into them, or are there things they can learn? What are the essential skills?
I think something that homeschool parents do the best is the freedom to try,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm a little bit of I'm an engineer. So I like things to work. I like them to be efficient. But as I go through this with my kids, or I helped another cohort, homeschool cohort recently go through an entrepreneur unit, is let them be creative even when you don't think it fits that mold, right? So I think the first trait of entrepreneurship is creating something that they don't already see. So that vision that we talk about of like, what do you want the end result to be like? And then let them try to get there. So that one step in seeing things complete or really seeing a problem
Mm-hmm.
and then visualizing the solution. So that is also a skill that can be trained. One of my businesses in downtown Tucson called Proper Shops is I saw a need for retail in downtown Tucson. I'm like, there's no retail here. The prices, the restaurants and bars do so well there that the price point for rent for a lease is very, very high. But these retailers don't have enough traffic to
Mm-hmm.
really open up a retail shop. So we open up Proper Shops, which is flexible retail, which people can do month to month, that allows them a lower entry. It's kind of a big building, and I've got 20 different retail spaces in there and a bar in the middle. It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the need for retail. I saw the prices, and no one's going to survive down here. I watched them pop open and close and open and close. And I'm like, we need a change. So I proposed it to a building that was vacant to the owner. And I said, listen, we'll just split profits. I don't want to sign a lease. Let's just get this space lit up, right? I want a dark building in downtown. So let's get the
Mm-hmm.
space lit up. Let's help the community and let's get some retail open. And we've had so much press because of it. And it was just a need that I knew that needed to be filled in downtown Tucson. So you can start that early with kids. If something's happening at home, something's not organized, we keep losing something. It's like, let's think of a creative way on you can't find your backpack and your stuff every morning, whatever it is, right? You can't find your shoes. Let's think of a creative way where we can now find our shoes and let them come up with the outcome instead of always telling them, leave your shoes by the door so we know where your shoes and socks are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, really encourage that here's we have a problem. What's a good solution? And then let them try different things. And it's hard to do in a day to day life, right? So, as a mom, you just got to have patience and help them see that. So one thing I see is kids that just come up with ideas. Ideas just pop into their head. They speak it all the time. Other kids are more reserved because they might think their idea is silly. And so it's really us fostering that environment where they think they can express their ideas and they're not afraid to.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I
that's step
guess,
one.
yeah, go ahead. Did you have more?
No, that's step one. And
Okay.
then the grit to finish, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
solution didn't work. Let's try another one. And that's where honestly, where our business in a box came in. I was looking for something. I found books that you could have like business ideas, but I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I want something that's going to walk my kid through the process
Mm-hmm.
of launching their little business
Mm-hmm.
and show them the steps. And then it's fun activities along the way. For homeschool parents, it's perfect because, okay, now let's create a marketing flyer
Mm-hmm.
for your business, right?
Yeah.
Let's open up Canva. Let's teach them a little graphics. Let's teach
Mm-hmm.
them what colors mean, why is McDonald's, yellow, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
all this science behind that. And
Yes.
so you can teach so many things along the way. And we pulled it all into these fun little business activities.
So, like we always hear of AI changing the job market and technology. Like what do we do about that? Are our kids gonna have unique challenges because of that?
Oh my gosh. So I just had this conversation with the director of the McGuire Center for Entrepreneurship at University of Arizona, and we were talking about just the different majors in college and where, are we really setting up these kids for success, right? So if someone's really passionate about theater or music, right? And they're going and they're going to study the history. If they don't know how to turn that degree into a business, they are in trouble when they graduate. So any passion can be turned into a business, but you have to have those business skills. And this is why the center is so important. The Center for Entrepreneurship that they have at the universities now, and this is why our program is so important, is you can go get a degree or you can have a passion. Maybe it's history. I mean, my husband graduated in humanities. I don't know what he was going to do with that, right? But you've got to be able to look at it from a business perspective and turn that into a business. And AI is going to take jobs. They might even take one step of creativity, right? So right now it's writing songs. It's right. I don't think it'll ever fully take all the creative out of what's happening, but it's going to take a lot of jobs out. So if you can, but it's not going to innovate. It's not going to start a business. It's not going to see a need in the community and be able to fill it. AI can't do that. So, whatever your passion is, entrepreneurship really needs to be at the side of it. You really need to know how to run a business at the time. And honestly, even if you don't want to run a business, my best employees have been entrepreneurs in the past. They've had a business before. And so, even just knowing those entrepreneur skills, you're going to make a better employee in the future. If you want to be a doctor, understanding how the doctor's office runs and how the financials work is going to make you a better employee. It just is.
I love that. So we want to give our kids a head start, and you've created something that does that. So give us a little more insight into like what's the mission behind Futurepreneur? How does it work? Give us like a peek into your business in a box.
Yeah. So, our mission is very, very simple. And it's just getting entrepreneurship into their mind prior to high school, actually. There's some stuff, there's startups in college and some great programs that they can get into for starting a business at that age, but we want to start even earlier. And that's what I didn't have. I have 3 kids, 10 and under. And so it's really a fun activity. You get a business in box at home. They can go on if they want to open a bakery or make slime and sell it. They can go on, they can pick a business of their choice and it gets shipped right to them. And you're in Pennsylvania, so I don't know if they have a scholarship program set up in your state for homeschool mamas, but in some states they do. We're approved vendor for all of those scholarship programs. We've submitted all of our curricula, and they basically get a business plan and they get a bunch of tools to start. And they love opening this. And the business plan, along with the video modules that walk it through. So you're a busy mom, right? Maybe you're homeschooling 4 or 5 kids. You can put them in front of our video modules as well, which are young, teenagers or low 20s, walking the kids fun through their steps of launching their business. So when you dive into it, we do simple things like market research, which often isn't done. What are some other products out there that are similar to what you want to create? What's the financial budget for it, right? Do you have a budget for it, or do we need to do financial planning in advance? How do you price your product or service? How do you create a prototype? What's the importance of creating a prototype? How do you survey your market, right? And then how do you execute on your business? So that might be you're going around to the neighborhood saying, I want to walk dogs this summer. And how do you actually do that? We teach them how to write a little agreement. We teach them the importance of showing up on time and how much your reputation means. We teach them scheduling. So we're talking about time management a little bit. We teach them how to look ahead in the month, see how many days you could walk a dog, calculate how much money you would make if you did it, right? Give them a little incentive, and then let's go build your business. So every business is a little bit different. In the restaurant business, we talk about what's an employee versus a business partner. So you're about to open your little mini restaurant in your house, right? You've got a pizzeria, but are you going to hire your sibling for $5 that night or $10 that night? Or are you going to maybe partner with mom and split profits, right? So we go into, the importance of teamwork in the pizzeria and what the difference is between those two. So every business has a different skill that they'll learn as they walk through it. And we built it really with the Homeschool Network in mind. There's a lot of different activities. Right now we have level 1, 2, and 3 that we sell on our website, but very, very soon, within 3 or 4, now that we've been shipping these for about 7 months, we've a ton of parents, they've given us incredible feedback. We've got lots of reorders, so people are loving it. But one thing that they said is that we need to differentiate between a long project. So I want my homeschooler to do this entrepreneur unit for a month. We're going to do it maybe an hour, a couple times a week. And it's going to be a business they build over a month or a summer or a spring break. Or I want a weekend activity. I'm sending them to grandma's house. Here's a quick bakery they can open with grandma, right? So now instead of having different levels, we're going to really have a project-based one and a weekend activity. And the difference in those will be how many new skills that we add in.
So what ages do you see this being perfect for?
Yeah, really, you can start at 6 or 7.
Okay.
You can start right now it's level 1, but the weekend activity is 6 or 7. They'll obviously need a little more hands-on. I would say until about 15. 15, they start really zoning in on maybe one. We want them to test out different industries as they're young. We're going to do this one weekend. Next month, we're going to do something like this. We're going to design a t-shirt and let's get creative juices flowing, launch our online t-shirt shop. But once they get a little bit older, they're going to go beyond our little kits and they're going to dive in. And we may have a phase in the future where we kind of teach them how to just really expand that business, but we're really focused on kind of that 6 to 12, 13 age.
And you have a free starter kit as this goes live?
We do. We have a couple freebies on our website. We just have conversation cards as well as like lunchbox notes, right? Which is just to help creativity flowing and confidence get up. But by the time this airs, we will have a free lemonade booklet. So it's a blueprint to launch your lemonade stand, which every kid loves to do, right? That's usually their first step into entrepreneurship. But we take them through more fun tasks just to teach them the whys behind your launching, right? How to make it successful. So it's really an expanded version of Lemonade Stand. You will love it. I can't wait for you to grab one. So it's completely free to your audience. And our website is just futurepreneur.com. And you will see the pop-up come up, or you can go to our menu for all the freebies.
Awesome. This has been a great topic, Krystal, and it's very inspiring, perfect for homeschool moms. So I so appreciate your time today. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate everything you do.
Thanks for joining us today for this episode of the Homeschool with Moxie podcast. Remember, you can find the show notes at 4onemore.com/331. And don't forget to check out Futurepreneur at futurepreneur.com. We'll be back next week for another awesome interview. Until then, happy homeschooling.